Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Last Lap. In today's episode, we have two very important pieces of news to talk about with you guys, including the test session for the next gen car at Charlotte, and the practice qualifying format was announced, so we're going to talk about all of that kind of stuff. But before we hop into it, just want to remind you guys, if you guys love NASCAR content, this is a channel for you because we talk NASCAR every single video, whether it's highlights, race recaps, news, predictions, everything you guys would love to see about NASCAR more. This is the place for it. Also, if you're not a fan of NASCAR but you want to get into it, this is a good spot for you as well. Some people who you never know, you could learn more about the sport and get hooked on it like Matthew and I have, because we've both been watching for however many years now. But make sure you check us out, subscribe, all that good stuff if you want to be part of the channel. And as always, Matthew's on the show, and you're lucky. You're done with school for the next week or so. I got one more day of class left tomorrow, but how's it feel to be back home for Thanksgiving and have a whole week of just relaxation time?
Well, I'm glad to be back home for the whole week off. Already got started on my Christmas decoration a little early, yeah, it's been a busy day. Watched some F1 this morning, and then football's been on all day. But yeah, I'm ready to talk about the news that came out this week.
All right, so we're gonna hop into the next gen test first. That was 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, I believe, or Thursday and Friday. It was 2 days this week, whatever 2 days they were. Wednesday and Thursday. Thank you for the correction. So this was the next gen car. Nobody had, not every single car was there, but every team or most teams were there to test. I believe if you had a 4-car team, you could only bring 2 cars, and if you had a 3-car team, you could only bring 2. So nobody, not every single driver car was there, but each team had multiple cars that they would use and all that kind of stuff. So there were a lot of spin outs and all that kind of stuff that happened. Not a few minutes into practice, I think Austin Dillon, he spun coming off of turn 2 and hit the inside wall hard enough to where they had to take that car back to the race shop and repair it. There are several there's no actual video of the crash, but there's a bunch of pictures of the car, and the left front was pretty damaged, and they were somehow able to drive that car back to the shop, repair it, and bring it back for the final 20-30 minutes of practice or testing. So they were somehow able to replace that car. I don't know how, and all that kind of stuff. Several big name drivers spun. Denny Hamlin spun. Ryan Blaney spun. Kyle Larson was on, I believe it was Hendrick Motorsports' Instagram story, and he said that he spun out 2 times. So it's good to see that drivers are struggling a little bit with the car. Obviously, you don't want to see cars spinning out left and right during actual races, but it's good to see the driver struggling a little bit, trying to get used to the next gen car. As far as major issues are concerned, I'm not 100% sure what those are. Matthew might have a few of those concerns that drivers are still looking at moving forward, but we saw a tiny bit of pack racing, and by pack racing I mean pretty much 5 or 6 cars in a line, pretty spread out. No real big packs of racing just yet. Hopefully we can get that soon. Maybe we could get that in another test session. I don't know if teams are going to be comfortable doing that until it's actually time to put these cars on the track for the clash in Las Vegas or Los Angeles. So yeah. Oh, also a few teams had a 7-inch spoiler and a few teams had an 8-inch spoiler. So NASCAR's kind of experimenting a little bit with that as well, trying to see what would be better. I believe they're gonna probably go with the 7-inch spoiler. I think they got a little bit more speed out of that, and that's what they were looking for. So just wanted to put that note out there as well. Yeah, some teams are trying some new things, and there was no tech or anything like that, so NASCAR wasn't really enforcing what teams are doing to their cars. So yeah, that's pretty much a good test recap for the next gen car. So Matthew, what do you have to say about what you saw, and whatever else you might have to say about the next gen car or test in general?
Well, the test overall, I thought it left a great impression on me. I'm so glad I'm hearing about the car being really hard to drive. That's the best thing I can hear about it. It's not supposed to be easy to drive, especially with the Gen 6 car, and when they put the 550 horsepower, it became basically easier to drive. It's hard to make that car hard to drive, apparently. But Now it's harder to drive, and even with the 550 package, it's hard to drive, and that's what I love to see. It's not supposed to be easy. And I think a lot of these younger drivers are gonna have they're gonna have a really hard time with it because they're used, especially the rookies from the past couple years. I think they're gonna have a hard time trying to figure out how to drive a car that's actually harder to drive because they used the 550 horsepower package cars. So it'll be interesting to see that. There were a couple concerns, but I think with this test they fixed both of those concerns from the past test. I think they fixed both of those because if we didn't hear anything about that, um, let's see. They also showed out the single loading up pit stops. Actually, they actually were practicing on those. And I thought they were gonna be really faster. I didn't think they were that fast as I thought they were, to be honest. So that was a little bit of a reliever for me. I thought they'd be way more quicker, but maybe towards the end of the season when they get used to it, they'll start getting quicker. But it almost looked the same, almost even with a single load nut. Um, and then let's see. Oh yeah, they also debuted Brad Keselowski with their newly named Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. I'm just gonna call it RFK Racing because that sounds way easier to say it. That sounds like a mouthful, but yeah, they unveiled like their test car, and I thought that car looked so cool with the chrome numbers, just like Trackhouse did. And I want to see more chrome numbers. We gotta make that a requirement. We gotta have all these cars with chrome numbers at this point. I think that would look awesome.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that, but yeah, RFK Racing, they announced that the day before the test. I'm pretty sure they announced they had the unveiling of the car and announced the partnership and all that kind of stuff. So that was pretty cool for them to do that and to see the car on track. But yeah, that's about it.
Oh, by the way,
Oh, yeah.
I forgot to say this. I'm glad we are like we and other people are talking about the test because mostly everybody doesn't talk about the test itself. They just whine and complain about a stupid decal on the car, which at this point we shouldn't even be acknowledging those as NASCAR fans at this point. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh yeah, I forgot to warn you guys at the beginning of the video that Matthew had a few roasts that he's been building up and he's been waiting to release them for quite a while, so those might come out.
Well, I kept this certain one short, but maybe not the next one.
All right. So speaking of that, that's it for the test session. We're gonna move on to the qualifying format that was announced for all three series. The basic procedure is pretty much the same for the format that I'm gonna say, and then at the end there's a few exceptions, but I'm gonna go over the general format. So for all tracks, there will be, well, except Bristol Dirt and a few other exceptions. The gist of everything is that there will be a 15-minute practice slash warm up session, and then after that they're going to go into qualifying. So the format for each qualifying is different for each type of track. For ovals, there will be two separate groups. There's going to be one car on the track, one lap, and the top five from each of those two groups will advance to the final round. So that means there'll be 10 cars total in the final round, and the fastest lap gets the pole. Obviously, there will be a two-lap exception at Martinsville, Dover, Richmond, and Bristol. So there'll be 2 laps for those tracks. But other than that, it'll be one lap, one car on the track at a time for those tracks. For super speedways, there's going to be 2 rounds. No different groups, just single car, 2 rounds. The first round. After that, the top 10 fastest will advance to the final round, and then the 10 of them will try to go for the pole. Road courses is going to be 2 groups. It'll be the multi-car, 15-minute group at a time that could go on the track, run as many laps as they want. So 2 separate groups from that. The top 5 from each one advance to the final round, and the final round will be 10 minutes, and obviously the fastest lap gets the pole there. Bristol Dirt, it's going to be 2 50-minute practice sessions, which I'm assuming, Matthew, that's what you want to see for all of these. You probably want to see the 2 50-minute practice sessions. But there'll be that, and then there'll be 4 qualifying races, and then the lineup for each of those qualifying races will be determined by a random draw. And so there will be these things called expanded weekends. And what that's going to look like is, so this is for the Cup Series. The Xfinity and Truck Series are a tiny bit different. But for the Cup Series, that includes the Daytona 500, Atlanta, Bristol Dirt, Worldwide Technology Raceway, Nashville, and the championship race at Phoenix. Those will be 50-minute practice sessions, and then qualifying will be the same based on whatever track it's at, whether it's super speedway, oval, dirt track, short track, whatever. So that's a lot, I'm sure, but like there's stuff. Our Instagram page has everything laid out for you guys and all that kind of stuff you can find on NASCAR.com as well. So this is obviously what was leaked a few weeks ago. Everybody was saying that this might be what it's going to look like, and sure enough, this is what it looks like. So I'm sure Matthew and I are pretty much going to agree on this, but 15 minutes is basically a warm-up session. Like that's basically what they called it. They called it like a practice slash warm-up session. And I mean, that's better than nothing, but if you're going to allow for these expanded weekends to be a 50-minute practice session, why can't you do that at every other track on the circuit? Why can't you add 35 minutes to these other tracks that you're just going to give 15 minutes to warm up? So I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I don't like the 15-minute warm-up. If you're going to do the expanded weekends at the Daytona 500, Atlanta, Bristol Dirt's kind of an outlier there, Worldwide Technology, Nashville, Phoenix. If you're going to do 50 minutes there, why don't you do it for these other tracks? I mean, I think 50 minutes is... Do I think it's enough time? I mean, they could do 2 50-minute sessions, but if you're going to do qualifying and practice on the same day, just give them a 50-minute practice session. So, yeah, that's all I got to say. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. So, Matthew... I already know what but yeah. Go ahead and tell me what you have to say about the qualifying format and what you got to say about all of that.
Alright, so before I get to the main issue about this whole thing, the big issue about it, the qualifying sessions, I actually don't mind it that much. I think, it sounds complicated, but I think it kind of it's better than what that group qualifying was we had a few years ago. That was an absolute disaster. But I don't mind this qualifying format. I think it's real nice in my opinion. But yeah. Alright. Well, where do I begin about this? No. Everybody say it with me. That is not a practice session. That is a warm-up session. You're I want to know what NASCAR is thinking. I want to know. I can't believe that NASCAR is that stubborn on not having a 50-minute practice session for all races. I mean, what is the problem, NASCAR? Tell me. I want a live televised interview. Tell me why a 50-minute NASCAR practice session is so bad that we have to do 15-minute warm-up sessions. Tell me. There's gotta be a reason why. It's like they either listen to the back marker teams only, or they just draw these ideas out of a hat, out of a dare, and be like, yep, this is what we're doing next season. Because this is exactly what it is. I mean, having no practice is ruining these young drivers' developments. And there's a reason why you see these young drivers are going to the Cup Series. They kind of suck, not gonna lie, because they have no seat time, no practice, no qualifying. I mean, I feel like these rookies these days, like back then it was like Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, then Chase Briscoe. I mean, I feel like they would be way better right now. Way better, even right now, if they had a bunch of practice sessions compared to now, when I know COVID was a thing, but especially when things were getting back to normal, depending on your opinion, we should have 50 practice sessions right after that. And we had a chance to do that, and NASCAR absolutely screwed it up. So I feel so sorry for these rookies coming up. They're they're barely going to get any seat time. And here's another issue: we got a brand new car, especially for the Cup Series. Like Truck and Xfinity, we still need practice for those, but this is a bigger issue for Cup. This is a brand new car. These teams have no idea how these cars are going to be because even though they're testing, they're not going all out, obviously. So they still don't know what it's going to be like. And you're not going to give them at least an hour session for each track to figure out, how these cars are like because they're not testing every track this off season. They're only testing like a couple. So it's just unbelievable how NASCAR does one thing right and then they make another stupid decision. And this is a stupid decision. I can care less about the number placement. I can care less about the packages right now because it's a brand new car. I think they're going to drive different. This is a huge problem because these teams have no idea what they're going to be like. These young drivers are going to barely have any seat time and no practice. And yeah, it's unbelievable. Just unbelievable. I guess they're just going to use iRacing more. That's really it. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say. I have a big issue with practice. But the qualifying, I'm fine with it. I think it's fine.
Yeah, obviously I thought about it, but I didn't think about mentioning it. But yeah, the next gen car for next year, this is big for teams to be able. They need that track time with this brand new car in order to figure out what it's going to do. Because, taking a brand new car to a brand new track every week, different types of tracks throughout the year, and all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, that's a big variable. But yeah, like you said, the qualifying format is pretty cool. I like it. I like how they're dividing it into groups and they're making it competitive, not with every car on the track, but they found a way to make it competitive. So I do like that. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna wrap it up as far as news goes. But those were two very big announcements and events that happened in the past week. So do you have anything to wrap it up real quick, Matthew, or are we ready to get up out of here?
Well, maybe if I hope one day Steve Phelps wakes up and realizes what have I done with this whole practice thing and change his mind and we'll have 50-minute practices for each race. That would be the greatest thing. That would be like the greatest news of the season if that happens. I wish.
All right, well, that's it for this video. Matthew wrapped it up for us right there. We hope you guys enjoyed this brief little chat update, as you could possibly call it, with some big stuff that happened this week. We hope you guys enjoyed the video. We're going to try our best to make some content throughout the off season to keep pushing for you guys. This is kind of more of an update and news announcement video. We'll try to do some fun stuff throughout the off season as well. Make sure you guys stay subscribed. Check us out on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. But until then, we'll see you guys in our next video.